My name is Manuel Ramirez. I'm a junior here at the Institute of American Indian Arts, a studio arts major, and I'm Otoe-Missouria. I decided to apply to go to NMAI after I had seen the Artist Leadership Program advertisement. The Artist Leadership Program is provide students with the opportunity to browse the collections at the Smithsonian Collections Research Center. My objective was to browse cultural material of the Otoe-Missouria people. The first day was really fun. I worked with Sylvanus Paul, and the first thing we did was look through the objects. And so he taught me how to handle the objects professionally and to treat them as living beings and to work with them in a way that was true to their presence. I wanted to take a look at the items to understand the process of how they were made in terms of the color, the design, and the overall layout of the composition in those pieces, and to see how those principles relate to my artwork today. The personal significance was that I did not expect to see anything that was part of my family. So the ones that were really calling to me or speaking to me were the items that I wanted to see first. Well, after searching through the archives and seeing the receipts of sale, those pieces that I had initially wanted to see were direct descendants of my family. And so to see that my great-grandmother's grandfather or her mother had owned those pieces was one of the most amazing moments of being there. So far, it's reconnected me with members of my family. So this coat that was made belonged to a tribal member that I've never really got to speak to. And so the fact that I got to see that brought us together, because then I was able to tell her, hey, I seen this coat and I would like to know what the story behind it is. That value of bringing us back together within our community through those pieces was so important for me because I grew up in Los Angeles, away from our reservation. So to meet with people, members of my tribe, and talk about these artworks that belonged to our creative process was really, really important for me. And the fact that I got to experience that, I think it's going to create a closer connection with us interpersonally. With the skills that we learned in research, we not only worked with the collection specialist, but we also worked with the library technician, the archival technician. We also made a presentation. Learning the value of those skills in a professional setting and being able to share my presentation with the IA community, not only through the artistic works, but also through the professional aspects, was very helpful in understanding my role as a student. And after I leave with those skills, just accounting for how valuable they really are. My name is Manuel Ramirez. I'm Otoe-Missouria, and I'm going to share with you my experience today with my research at the National Museum of the American Indian. It was really interesting to kind of look back into the history of my tribe and try to find talking points or places that I felt were left out or places that I could reconnect with. One of the earliest photographs that I had found in a book that was given to me by my grandmother included a picture of these people who are Otoe-Missouria and were part of the Native American Church. And so in this photograph is my great-great-grandfather who's seated in the first row. So it was my desire to research Otoe-Missouria cultural material, since my first interest is in art and design, and to try to create something that is relevant to my culture and to my experience as an Otoe-Missouria person. I went to the National Museum of the American Indian Collections Research Center in Suitland, Maryland. And the things that I discovered there were the collections, the archives, the library, repatriations. Well, it turns out after looking at those things, reading in the archives, I found bills of sales receipts. And those receipts showed my great-grandmother's grandfather's items that were in the collection that I was able to view. And once I saw those things, I was amazed. I was taken aback. And I just almost couldn't believe that I was looking at something that belonged to my descendant, or my family. Because my great-grandmother, who's pictured in this photograph, she did not make it past my grandmother's third year. I started to think about my community project and what it is that I can bring back to my community as an artist. And I believe that art is kind of the basis or the beginning of creation in terms of ideas. And because we had lost so much of our culture,
through deaths in our family or through moving away or being separated by state. I think that art is a mechanism or a way to create a reconnection with ideas and people. I hope to continue with my community project in collaborating with the language director of our tribe in creating a book that is of today for students who are interested in looking at language and art. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you today, and that concludes my presentation.